Some people think little girls should be seen and not heard, but I think, oh, bondage! Up yours! 1, 2, 3, 4!
The women you see here are a handful of influential, important, and pretty radical pioneers of the punk rock world. Women such as Susie Sue, Polly Styrene, and later on Kathleen Hanna paved the road for the future generations of specifically female punk rockers by being visible in the historically male-dominated world of punk rock. Fast forward 30 years to 2015 in Los Angeles, California. As a woman involved in the current and very active Los Angeles punk scene as both a showgoer and a musician, I felt compelled to examine just how intertwined sexism is in our current punk rock community. To do so, I anonymously surveyed 160 people, completed self-administered interviews with 5 Los Angeles-based female musicians and show promoters, and conducted in-depth interviews with San Pedro-based surf punk trio Bon Bon, as well as with Joy Purvey, bass player from Los Angeles-based band Crow Baby. In conductive survey research with the 160 respondents, 84 individuals self-identified as female, 71 as male, and 7 identified as other. Of those surveyed, 61% of people responded that they believe sexism is an issue in Los Angeles punk rock. Additionally, when asked if they have ever witnessed sexist behavior at a concert or show, 70% of the participants claim they have. This percentage difference leaves the interesting notion that while individuals may see a sexist encounter unfold right in front of their eyes, they still don't necessarily claim that sexism is an issue. I sat down with Bon Bon, a band from San Pedro that has been active in the Los Angeles music scene for over 5 years, as well as with Joy Purvey, a musician from LA.
It didn't become a factor until I got older, and then I realized there was all these awesome women, and I think also when you get older, you go into these weird situations where you realize that being a woman is an issue sometimes. So I think
it was something that I noticed, but it didn't really like hit hard for me. It was definitely something that I was aware of. And I noticed that there weren't many girls around, especially, when I started going to shows and stuff, and it would be like a small handful out of like hundreds of people at a show that were like actually girls and were like actually into what was going on.
Right.
I feel like there's different like things that people criticize about women musicians and there's about males. Like I feel like there's more things like. When we play sometimes, it's like, oh, you guys are really good, but you need to smile more. Or if we dress cute, like, we're into style, and we're not into, like, the music part.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's things that people, it's, like, a few things that are added to criticizing a band. If it's a male band or female.
Punk's always kind of been like a boys' club. And as soon as we show up and we're just, like, kind of feminine with our approach with like punk rock period, it's kind of like, oh, you're not like gutter, you're not like super hardcore about it. And it's like, no, dude, I'm here in a dress and I'm gonna play some fucking punk music for you.
People want to help more when you're a woman carrying your instrument. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we get that a lot. You know what? Someone being friendly and kind and offering to help you carry something is fine.
Right.
That's totally great. But it's just the way you get asked sometimes.
Right.
Like, hey, let me get that for you, or and then sometimes I've had people take things out of my hands. Wow. And it's like, dude, you cannot touch my stuff. Please ask, that kind of stuff, and
Girls being roadie.
Yeah, you girls do it.
It definitely, it happens almost every show. unless it's an all girls or like only female fronted bands or something like that. But if it's just any like regular show, especially if we're the only girls playing, it's all side eyes and like who's that when we like walk in with our instruments. But by the time we're done playing, everybody is just like up in our face, and it's just like it's a very visible flip flop of emotions, the way people treat us when we play shows.
I think those are actually really important, especially what Burger's doing. They're doing, Burgery Go-Go, and I feel like what they're trying to do is they're trying to generate a festival where they're able to show everyone, like, hey, we have these, like, all of these bands that are all completely different, and they're all female-fronted, not necessarily all female, they're not an entirely, like, female band that's put together, but they're all completely different, and they're all...
Yeah, it's really cool because we're still trying to find our, like, space in punk rocks still. So it's, like, very important. It's always really cool to have something that's just, like, for women and, like, by women. But it gets a little tiring sometimes because it kind of feels like a shtick almost. Like, it just feels kind of... like, I don't know, it's like something about it that just makes me feel like it's just, I can't even think of the word right now. Yeah, it just like feels almost not authentic.
It's contrived a little bit.
It's a little bit contrived, yeah. And I mean, I love them for, because it's important, but when it's just like the only thing that you're doing for a while, it's just kind of, it's like I want to play a regular show that's not just like a girls punk rock show. It's just like, let's play a show.
Like that's the weird thing about like sexism in a group like punk rock, because punk rock, it almost becomes like an underground family thing where like all the bands know each other. Yeah. So like wherever you are, like whatever band you're playing with, everyone's like kind of like interwebbed, where like if anything happens, like everyone has each other's backs kind of thing. Yeah, so like if we were at a show and someone said something weird to me, like, and we were playing with like two other bands we knew, like it would be like an automatic like you have a protection system.
Not all the way. There's definitely always going to be room for improvement. It's a lot better than like different cities, I'm sure. But it does, there's definitely room for improvement on all that. Like, especially with just like gender and like racism and all of those things, like that's all, like it needs to be all inclusive of all walks of life if it's really going to be what punk rock really is about and like what it stands for.
Right. 82% of those surveyed, both male and female, state that they would feel comfortable speaking out against sexist behavior at a show or event. This proves that the issue of sexism is a valid concern inside LA punk rock communities. After my interviews with Joy Purvey and the women of Bon Bon, combined with the data collected through my surveys, I can draw a few conclusions about sexism in Los Angeles punk rock. Sexist microaggressions and learned behaviors remain ingrained in the once male-dominated scene. However, overt sexism, machismo behavior, and misogynistic language is not tolerated. Through dialogue and action, the women and men active in LA punk are saying together, "Oh boys club, up yours."